In 1961, the world was moving, but not fast. Air travel was still glamorous, not routine. Television was black and white. Most people had never driven faster than 70 miles per hour. Cars were practical objects. Luxury was reserved for the few. And beauty, true beauty, was something you found in art galleries, not on the street. Then, one March morning in Geneva, everything changed. Without warning. Without hype. Without permission. One car didn't just arrive. It stopped the world. This was not a revolution announced with fireworks. It was a whisper that echoed for generations. This was the Jaguar E-Type. To understand why the Jaguar E-Type mattered, you must first understand where it came from. Post-war Britain was a country still healing. The Second World War had ended less than 2 decades earlier. Cities bore scars. Industries were rebuilding from rubble. Resources were scarce. Exports were everything. British manufacturers weren't building cars for glamour, they were building them to survive. Jaguar, at the time, was not the global luxury icon we know today. It was a company clawing its way forward through engineering excellence, not marketing bravado. And quietly, almost stubbornly, Jaguar was becoming something dangerous to its rivals. Before the E-Type ever existed, Jaguar had already done something extraordinary. They had won Le Mans. Not once. Not by accident. But repeatedly. The Jaguar C-Type and D-Type dominated endurance racing in the 1950s, introducing technologies other manufacturers hadn't yet mastered. Monocoque construction. Disc brakes. Aerodynamic efficiency derived from aircraft science. Jaguar wasn't building race cars to sell road cars. They were building race cars because Sir William Lyons believed competition refined truth. And that belief would shape everything that followed. Sir William Lyons was not an engineer. He wasn't loud. He wasn't theatrical. He didn't chase headlines. He had something far rarer. He had an eye. Lyons believed proportion mattered more than ornament. That beauty wasn't decoration, it was discipline. He famously said, "A Jaguar should be fast, beautiful, and affordable." Affordable. That word would haunt the industry. Because no one else believed it could coexist with the first two. To turn Lyons' vision into metal, Jaguar relied on a man who didn't think like a car designer at all. Malcolm Sayer. Sayer was an aeronautical engineer. He believed shape was mathematics, not emotion. While others sketched curves, Sayer calculated airflow. Where others chased trends, he chased efficiency. The E-Type's shape was not styled. It was solved. Every line had a purpose. Every curve existed because the air demanded it. And the result was something the world had never seen. By the late 1950s, Jaguar knew they had something special. But even they didn't fully grasp what they were about to unleash. The E-Type prototype combined racing-derived suspension, disc brakes on all 4 wheels, a 3.8-liter inline-six capable of 150 miles per hour, a body so low, so long, so fluid it looked unreal. And it cost half the price of comparable Italian exotics. This wasn't just competition. This was provocation. The Geneva Motor Show was not supposed to be dramatic. Manufacturers unveiled cars. Journalists took notes. Buyers made quiet decisions. Then Jaguar unveiled the E-Type. The room changed. People stopped walking. Conversations ended mid-sentence. Cameras jammed. Journalists crowded the stand, climbing over one another to get closer. No one had prepared for this. Jaguar hadn't even brought enough cars. While the crowd stared in disbelief, panic spread behind the scenes. There was only one E-Type on display. Demand was immediate. Journalists wanted test drives. Executives wanted photographs. Buyers wanted confirmation this wasn't a joke. Sir William Lyons made a decision that would become legend. He turned to Jaguar's chief test driver, Norman Dewis. And he gave him an order. Norman Dewis was told to drive from England to Geneva. Immediately. No rest. No modern highways. No satellite navigation. Just speed, endurance, and trust. The car was driven flat out across France, through the night, stopping only for fuel. This wasn't marketing. It was belief. When Dewis arrived in Geneva the next morning, exhausted and triumphant, the E-Type rolled onto the stand like it had emerged from myth. The message was clear. This car wasn't fragile. It wasn't theoretical. It wasn't art behind glass. It was real. And it could do everything it promised. Across Europe, rivals took notice. None more than Enzo Ferrari. A man not known for compliments. Yet even Ferrari reportedly said, "It is the most beautiful car ever made." That sentence carried weight. Because Ferrari didn't praise competitors. He measured them. And the E-Type had passed the test. The E-Type didn't just introduce a new model. It redefined expectations. It proved that beauty could be engineered. Performance could be accessible. Design could transcend era. This wasn't a car for the future. It pulled the future forward. The Jaguar E-Type didn't arrive quietly. It arrived like a rupture in time. And yet, this was only the beginning. Because what followed wasn't just success, it was cultural transformation. In Part 2, we'll explore why the E-Type looked alive, how Malcolm Sayer's aircraft logic reshaped automotive design forever, and why no car since has quite captured the same magic. When the Jaguar E-Type appeared in 1961, the world struggled to describe it. It wasn't aggressive in the way Italian cars were. It wasn't formal like a Bentley. It wasn't muscular like an American V8 coupe. Instead, it flowed. Long. Low. Seamless. People didn't just see the E-Type. They felt it. And that reaction wasn't accidental. To understand the E-Type's shape, you must understand Malcolm Sayer. Sayer didn't believe in styling. He believed in mathematics. Before Jaguar, he worked in the aerospace industry, designing aircraft where beauty was irrelevant and efficiency was survival. In aviation, every curve has a consequence. Every line affects drag. Every surface answers to physics. Sayer brought that mindset into a world dominated by stylists and intuition. While others sketched by eye, Sayer calculated airflow using slide rules and equations. The E-Type wasn't drawn. It was engineered into existence. There's a reason people often describe the E-Type as organic, almost biological. Its long bonnet tapers like a predator's nose. Its roofline arcs gently, never breaking the flow. Its rear end narrows as if pulled by the wind itself. This wasn't about drama. It was about harmony. Air didn't crash into the E-Type. It moved around it. That's why the car feels timeless. Because it isn't tied to trends. It's tied to physics. Sayer treated the E-Type like a fuselage. The long hood wasn't for show, it allowed clean airflow over the engine bay. The covered headlights reduced turbulence. The smooth underbody minimized drag at speed. Even the way the rear tapered wasn't aesthetic, it reduced wake turbulence, a principle borrowed directly from aircraft design. In the early 1960s, this approach was unheard of. Most manufacturers were still decorating boxes. Jaguar was sculpting wind. The E-Type's design wasn't just beautiful. It was functional. The low drag coefficient allowed the car to reach 150 miles per hour, an astonishing figure for a road car in 1961. To put that into perspective, Many family cars struggled to reach 80 miles per hour. Some supercars of the era couldn't match it. Motorways were still rare. The E-Type wasn't just fast. It was unreasonably fast for its time. When journalists compared the E-Type to its rivals, the results were uncomfortable. Ferrari offered exclusivity and racing pedigree, at double the price. Aston Martin offered elegance, with less performance. Porsche offered engineering precision, without the drama. Jaguar offered everything. Speed, beauty, technology, and value. This wasn't supposed to be possible. Enzo Ferrari's alleged statement, calling the E-Type the most beautiful car ever made, has become legend. But what matters isn't whether he said it word for word. What matters is that Ferrari noticed. And Ferrari rarely looked sideways. The E-Type forced Europe's most powerful automotive ego to acknowledge something uncomfortable. Beauty didn't have to be Italian. Innovation didn't have to be expensive. Excellence didn't have to be exclusive. Sir William Lyons insisted the E-Type be affordable, at least relative to its rivals. This decision changed everything. Suddenly, beauty wasn't locked behind aristocracy or racing teams. It was attainable. Doctors bought E-Types. Architects bought E-Types. Young professionals stretched their finances to own one. The E-Type became a symbol not of wealth, but of taste.